and welcome back to Global Access Bars Day. Thank you all so much for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of the translators. In that string of videos, there was a beautiful translation tribute video. Just thank you guys. There's over 80 translators translating this day into 21 languages. So thank you guys so much. Our next segment is we get to have the guest Shannon O'Hara on the brilliant topic of what is access consciousness, and more on the mantra of access consciousness, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And Shannon's joining us today from Australia, so we're going to go to her on Zoom. Hello, Shannon.
OMG, hello, everybody.
You sound good. We hear you. You're good.
Cool.
Awesome.
I can hear myself twice.
Okay, you should be good now. I think they fixed
There.
the echo.
Now I just hear myself.
Okay, take it away.
Good? Oh. How amazing is this Global Bars Day, you guys? I hope everybody is enjoying their bars. I'm just going to activate my implant band now. Oh, yeah. Oh, that feels so good. I'm like, we were waiting. We're in Australia and we just woke up we woke up about an hour ago. And I'm just waiting to get to our first bar swap. I wanted to come on and say hi to you guys. Emily was so kind to invite me on, and she actually sent me some questions. And I think I'm probably going to do most of the talking because of the echo with me coming in live. By the way, all the people who are running this Global Bars stream and have done all the editing, putting this together, Georgia, Brett, Emily, like everybody, like, wow, I've been like crying all morning watching this stuff. You guys have how does it get even better than this? So Emily sent me some questions. I guess I'll just dive right in. I can't see Emily. I could just see myself and all of the beautiful translators on Zoom. And I can see myself in the background. Max has the TV with the stream on behind me. That's not going to be weird for me at all. So the first question is, how do you explain access to someone that hasn't heard of it before? That's a funny question for me because I feel like I don't explain access very much to people. I really follow my dad's recommendation about talking to people about access, which is this. If anybody even asks me what I do, which is rare, but if they do ask me, I say, I do this stuff called access consciousness. And then I say nothing else, unless they ask another question. If they say, oh, what's that? Then I say, it's this really awesome stuff for changing your life. And then if they're really brave, they ask me another question. How does that work? And then I'll give them bite-sized pieces. Because I was one of those people in the very beginning who was so excited by the magnitude of change that I got from the bars and from access that I just wanted to give it to everybody all the time. So I would constantly give people too much information. So now I follow the rule of thumb of only offer when somebody asks. That took me many years to perfect. And then never give too much. Only offer the bite-sized piece that the person can have. And if they can have more, they will reach. I also do my best not to explain much because how do you explain consciousness? And really, it's like, why have all of you reached for access? Do you even know why? If someone explained it to you, would it even make logical sense? So I prioritize being as the invitation to what access can offer. And that's taken me many years to trust that being and relaxing works. So, second question, what is different about access consciousness? I feel like I'm not totally qualified to answer that question because I've been doing access for so much of my life. And I'm not one of those people that's like tried a whole bunch of other stuff. I know like my husband, when he came to access, he was like a workshop junkie. He was like going to every single workshop and self-help modality he could and reading all the books. And I know Dane also was that where he was just trying everything he could to like get feeling better. And I know many of you probably watching this can relate to that, but that wasn't really me. My dad did the first bars class when I was 12 years old, and I was part of that bars class. So I really just was really lucky. I got access right from the beginning. So if I was going to say from my position like what's different about Access is that like it works. I'd say that that's a pretty rare commodity. Access really works. You know, you don't have to work hard at it, and it deeply, permanently transforms life. I think that's pretty different. I'm not sure that much else can provide that. Next question. You have been around Access your whole life. How have you seen it evolve? Ooh, you guys, this is watching this Global Bars Day today. It's like watching all the segments with all the people talking about the stories of what changed in their lives with the bars, how the bars have worked for them. It's like hearing about how it's getting into schools and seeing all the people all around the world speaking so many different languages. Like, so basically Gary started Access, you know, we had like a converted garage outside of our house. It was like, used to be a garage and then it got turned into a studio. And that's where he started doing his classes. And he would have, you know, friends of the family over for bars classes. And it was tiny. And when you're like a teenager watching your parents, you don't really think about it. Like I wasn't really that interested in what he was doing, but he really stuck with it for years. And I think I only really noticed how much bigger Access had gotten like in my early 30s. So that was like 10 years ago. And now today, seeing that this is being broadcast to I don't know how many thousands of people in so many languages and having so many people knowing what the Access bars are and maybe not even relating it to Gary or not even really knowing where it came from, like that's a real sign that this body of work, this tool, this key to consciousness, like really wants to exist in the world and that people are really looking for this access point. And so watching Access become this thing where I remember when I used to know everybody who was in Access, like it was that small. You could literally know every single person who is involved in using the tools of Access. And now I'm not even close to knowing every single person that does Access. So the size is, I never thought in my wildest dreams that it could be so incredible. And one of the things that I'm really, that really blows my mind is how many people are becoming a source for Access and a real support for Access. You know, in the beginning, it was my dad, and he carried that torch by himself against all odds, you know, against people not wanting it, against people telling him he was crazy, against everybody's commitment to limitation. And he just kept going. And bit by bit, people came to choose greater, like Dane, like myself, like Simone, like Emily, like so many of you guys who, against all odds, against everybody telling you you're wrong, against just like the psychic intensity of limitation that exists in this world, you made a different choice. And you chose to know what you know. Like that's a miracle that each of us chooses to be empowered rather than continue buying the lie and telling the story of limitation. That is an evolution of miraculous proportions that is the magic that makes life worth living. Next question. I'm interviewing myself today. You were there when your dad taught the first bars class. What has the bars contributed to your life? I was there when my dad taught the first bars class. I was 12 years old, and I think there were 3 grown-ups in the class, and my dad was the 4th, but my dad was channeling the class. So he was channeling the bars. And what a lot of people don't know is that he actually had to listen to those first bars classes to learn how to run the bars himself, because he used to channel and he wouldn't really remember what was talked about in the channeling. So he would have to listen to those classes to know how to run the bars. But I remember the first bar session I received, I fell asleep in class And then I woke up after, I guess when we were done, and I sat up and I went to go put my feet on the floor and I fell over because the solidity of reality, my whole reference point had changed and I didn't know it. So I had to sort of like but get to know this new reality for the first time. And then I, rejected Access when I was a teenager because it was like the weird stuff that my dad was doing. And then in my late teens, like 18, 19 years old, I was really, really depressed and really not happy and really wanted to kill myself. And my dad, tricked me into getting my bars run, and I started noticing that after a bar session, I just felt so much better. And then I started realizing that the energy that I was experiencing with the bars and in the Access classes that I would go to was the energy that was so fulfilling and so nourishing and so what I wanted in life. So bars, is the first tool of Access. It was the first set of tools, and it contributed to me not killing myself and being able to go on and be a source of inspiration for others. Next question. The mantra of Access: all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Can you go into detail of this? Oh, no. Can you go into details of ease, joy? Can you go into the details of ease, joy, and glory? So many of you would know that there are many tools in Access. Some of you guys might not know how many tools there are in Access. Maybe you haven't done Foundation, or you haven't done the Choice of Possibility class, or you haven't done the 3-Day Body class, or there are so many tools. Bars was the absolute first tool that we started from. And all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, I would say, is the main tributary. It's the main river of life, of Access and how you access consciousness through living. So consciousness is never hard. It might be intense. It might be confronting. It might be challenging. It might be exciting, but it's never hard. So you know that when you're making something difficult or when something is hard, that you're not accessing the tools or the energies or the resources of consciousness. So the way I've used that is when I'm, in a stressful situation, or I've been using it a lot now when I've been traveling around the planet over the last 2 years, as soon as I start to stress out, because there's so much stress being created for people about everything so that we're easier to control. But since I'm impossible to control, I've had to really rely on the superpower tools of Access. And the number one, I would say to this day, the one I go to first and foremost above all else is all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. So anytime something feels stressful or difficult or hard or impossible, I push away that energy and I focus on all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And a lot of times what I find is that there's something that I'm doing, that I'm choosing, a way in which I'm thinking that is contributing to stuff not being easy. So all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. A lot of times actually sheds a light on where I'm being insane. And I'll notice wow, okay, I'm making this difficult. And then sometimes I even notice how I want to justify why making it difficult is right. But if I can prioritize ease first and foremost, and then joy, oh my God, the pleasure, if I can prioritize that, it completely dominates everything if I'm willing to let it. But how many of you guys don't prioritize ease, for example, because it just seems so not normal or so not valid? what if you were the first of your species to start a new experience of living that was the expression of ease, joy, and glory? It is possible. Next question. If someone is going through difficulties, whether it be in relationship, money, or career, how can they continue to choose ease, joy, and glory? This is so funny that Emily wrote this question, because I would say, I always say to anybody that I'm facilitating, a how question is a tricky one, because sort of like, how do you do anything? You know, you just do. So I think I spoke to this with the prioritizing ease, joy, and glory. It's like, so much of the time, it's like, we are aware. We're aware of other people's points of view. We have our own points of view. We're aware of people's expectations. And so when we're in relationships and in our careers, and are you experiencing your reality in those areas? Like, are you choosing? Or are you aligning and agreeing with, or resisting and reacting to everyone else's points of view? How many of you guys are always looking for what other people need, want, require, and desire so that you can fulfill that? It's like, as humanoids, it's very easy for us to know what other people want and to fulfill that. So the big ask now becomes, what kind of a life living in reality would you like to have and be the source of? Like, what source are you that you're not acknowledging? And what if you could be a source of ease, joy, and glory? And if you were going to be a source of ease, joy, and glory, what would you have to commit to? And what if you had to aggressively choose ease, joy, and glory? Because let's face it, this reality is really good at tackling us with all of the insanities, all of the perceived problems, all of the invented judgments. And who's the one person that you can change? You. So what mastery of your consciousness could you choose? And what if mastering your consciousness was as easy as prioritizing and committing to ease, joy, and glory? So every single situation in your life, you make it ease. You choose ease. What choice would lead to the greatest ease? What choice would lead to the greatest joy? What would create the most joy? And what would contribute to and lead to and give me access to the exuberant expression and abundance of life and living? And that's what glory is, the exuberant expression of life and living. And everything that doesn't allow that, we destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, poison, beyonds. It's a choice to have all of life come to you with ease and joy and glory. And it's a privilege. And it's your free privilege to have a life of ease, joy, and glory. Are you choosing it? Next question. Oh, it's related to actually to what I just said. All of like on a call recently, you mentioned how you have to aggressively choose ease. What do you mean by that, as you don't often hear those two words in a sentence together? Yeah, aggressively choosing ease. So some years ago, I believe Gary was talking about, rewind. Let me start from a different place. Many of the things that are powers for us, we judge as wrongnesses. And Gary has done a brilliant job over the years in getting people to recognize that everything that you think is wrong about you is actually what's strong about you. And so a lot of access is clearing the misinformation, the misidentification that we've thought or perpetrated that doesn't give us easy access to what's true. So one of the things we tend to do is we've been so heavily sort of like miseducated, I would even say brainwashed, to not really know what things are. So aggression, for example, is when you hear the word aggression, what comes up for you immediately? You know, like angry, aggressive, wrong, I shouldn't be aggressive, or if I'm aggressive, I'm going to be a bitch, or if I'm aggressive, I'm, you know, whatever, all the stuff that's attached to aggression. But what's actually true is that aggression is a specific energy. So it's like an ingredient, and you can utilize that ingredient however you want to utilize that ingredient. So you can be aggressively limited, you could be aggressively angry, but you can also use aggression for greater ease. You can be aggressively interesting point of view. You can even be aggressively kind. And for me personally, aggression is something that comes to me very naturally. So it's been an energy that's been really easy for me to repurpose for the energies and the realities that I want to create and prioritize. So for me, it's like I've noticed that almost every person on earth is so aggressive about their limitations, their point of view, their judgment, their wrongness, their rightness. And at one point, I realized that I had my commitment to ease, joy, and glory had to be even stronger than everyone else's commitment to insanity. And so I don't use aggression towards others. I use aggression to cultivate the energy that's easy for me. And last question on Emily's list. Personally, what are you desiring for the world in this year, in 2022? I know that my ask has not been big enough. Dane has been such an incredible contribution to keeping, he's like, are you asking for big enough? He's like, he basically says, like, when you're not excited, when you're not enthusiastic, it might be because you're not actually asking for the big reality that enthuses you. So my big ask for 2022 is that insanity, judgment, separation loses its power. And that I would ask that each and every one of us here knows that we are an epic source of energy. Each and every one of us is a mega sun of energetics, and that it's our points of view. It's the way in which we utilize our consciousness or unconsciousness that diverts that energy into where it goes, and that we are the source of what supports all of what we experience in reality. And instead of resisting and reacting to what doesn't work or what we don't like, we recognize that it can only exist because we're feeding it energy, and that we consciously choose what we will contribute energy to and what we will starve out of existence by simply withdrawing energy. So my big ask for 2022 is that all of the artificial intelligence, all of the not real insanity that steals your energy, that tricks you into believing it, loses all of its power. And more importantly, that you recognize that you are a source of what is real and what will be true through your consciousness. And that you get really aggressive about being clear about where you're putting your energy. When you're upset, that's feeding whatever you're upset about. You are contributing to energy to what you're upset about. When you're in ease, joy, and glory, what are you contributing your energy to? Thank you so much.
4 more minutes.
Oh,
about whatever you want to.
I've got 4 more minutes to talk about whatever I want to. Okay, let's do some processes. So all the energies that you've been contributing to things that you do not desire will you destroy and uncreate all the unconsciousness and anti-consciousness that you've chosen that allows that misuse of energy. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Every time that you align and agree, every time you resist, react, that is a form of giving energy. You are contributing energy to what you're aligning and agreeing with and resisting and reacting to. So what if all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory? Short-circuited all of that energy stealing everywhere that, what if all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory was a way of short-circuiting everywhere that this reality connects to feed off of you? Would you institute more ease, joy, and glory to short circuit everywhere and in every way that you willingly give energy to that which is not valuable to you? And everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. You determine, you are the source for what gets created on the planet and in the universe and even beyond the planet and the universe. What source are you that you do not dare acknowledge, and everything that doesn't allow you to claim, own, and acknowledge more of the source that you be? Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if you were the source, what would happen? And everywhere that you believe that if you stepped into being the power and source that you be, that you would destroy universes or be bad, be real, real bad. Will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds, and recognize that you can be real, real bad. And maybe your ability to destroy and uncreate can be a useful commodity. What would you desire to destroy and uncreate with total ease, joy, and glory? And what do you desire to create with total ease, joy, and glory? Thank you, guys. It was really awesome being here with you all. Thank you, translators.